Welcome back to Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA. Today's episode, powered by Hayabusa, is all about how to train if you've hurt your shin. Welcome back to Bazooka Kickboxing. Today's episode, we're talking about how to train with a hurt shin. It's actually a question I get asked a lot, and recently it was asked in the forum section at bazookatraining.com, so I decided to answer this for everyone. Now, this answer is very loaded because, to me, it really depends on the level you are. Okay, what does that mean? If you are in my beginner program and you come to me and say, Joe, I hurt my shin, I'm gonna give you a nice response that's gonna be like, oh, let's take care of it, put some ice on it, let's stay off it, right? The nice, easy things that, you know, the doctor, your mom, or your dad is gonna tell you. So, now, that is a good thing, right? Because you're just learning, your body's adapting, right? You want to be able to continue to do martial arts when you're a beginner. You're not in here to fight, you're not in here, you don't have a professional fight coming up, so we need your bruising to heal to get better. Shorts weather, I know a lot of my females at the gym don't want the bruised shins when they're wearing shorts, so we have to be careful for all of these things. Now, the intermediates, my answer will be, well, we got to be able to still train and use that shin. So the tips and the 5 things that I'm going to give you to be able to train with a sore shin is geared more towards my intermediates and my advanced type of followers. So, but even if you're a beginner and you're taking your training serious, this is all types of things that you can learn as well. So this video really is for everyone. But if you're more of a recreational, you don't need to damage your shins. You don't need to be rolling them out, banging them out, and doing all those hard shin conditioning exercises. Naturally, with pad work, with bag work, it's all gonna come and you'll be able to handle your shins. I probably, and as a beginner, maybe start tapping my shins, but really realize that with adrenaline and constant training, they get stronger with time. Okay, so tip number 1, all right? So the first thing, this is more my nicer answer, okay? I'm gonna be a little bit nicer. Oh, Joe, sorry, I can't kick today because I hurt my shin. So the nice answer is tip number 1. Okay, we're gonna work on our boxing today. So number 1 thing you should do, if your legs are hurt, work on your hands, right? So the shins hurt, let's focus on our boxing. So that's the first thing I will do, right? Because kickboxing and MMA have so many different areas, let's just not focus on the one area that's hurt. And if anything, it's almost like a training tool to say, okay, if you are hurt in your fight, right? We can't stop the fight. We're gonna have to use different tools, different weapons. So your low kick's done, let's go to something else. So improving your boxing is very important, okay? And usually if you're in a good mixed martial arts or kickboxing school, working straight boxing really isn't practiced as much, right? We all wanna use the kicks because it's a different sport. I mean, I know there is boxing and kickboxing, but a good kick fighter should be able to shut down a boxer, clinch a knee. So maybe this is the time to work some straight boxing, which is okay to sprinkle in once in a while, and I actually did that in my career. Leading up after my fight with Nikki Holtzkin, I realized I needed a little bit more boxing specific training, and that's when I started boxing a bit before my title fight with Mark DeBont. Did it help me? Yes, but I also made sure that I practiced and continued to use my low kicks and my fighting system that made me so successful. Okay, now, number 2. This is more now, I would be a little bit less friendly, where I would say, okay, we're still gonna use our legs, but we're just not gonna use the shin on the hurt leg. So what does that mean? Just because one part of my shin is hurt doesn't mean I can't use my other leg or other parts of the shin. So tip number 2 with a hurt shin, start working on front kicks. If my shin is hurt, right, on my right side, I can still use a right front kick, right? I can still use a right knee, so you can still use the front kick and the knee on the hurt shin. Or, if even better, and I mean this is from personal experience as an amateur, what happened was I hurt my shin really bad, and with deadlifting, basically the bar rubbed and broke the shin, skin on my shin. So it wouldn't heal on my right side, and I had a fight coming up. So what did I do? I continued to work my left kick over and over again, so that way I developed my left kick, right? So work on kicking on the other side, and on the sore shin, use front kicks and knees. You can still do pads, right? You just can't do one weapon. There's so many other weapons you can use, your elbows, you know, the boxing, anything you want, except one technique. So just practice on the pads, or when you do your sparring and drills, just use front kicks or knees on the hurt shin. All right, that's more of my intermediates, okay? I'm slowly getting less and less friendly, as you can start telling. Now, number 3, all right, shadow boxing. Shadow boxing is an important tool because you can kick still, right? You can still move around, you can practice your right kick as much as you want, or whatever shin that's hurt, you can practice it, okay? So, shadow boxing is a simple, easy way to do it. Now, even with the shadow boxing, sometimes the hurt shin, right, doesn't allow you to bounce so much and move. So just practice more stationary style shadow boxing, right? Just maybe more practicing on something that you're not good with. Maybe if it's stationary head movement, anything. But you can still shadow box and still find a way to train. The last thing you should be doing if you have a hurt shin is not training, right? The worst thing you can do is just sit at home and do nothing. The idea, if it really hurts, you got to get blood to it. You got to get the blood moving. So usually we'll even start rubbing the shin out, right? We'll get in there with the tie liniment, or even once it's warmed up, I start pushing the blood flow to it, bouncing on my calves, all right? So shadow boxing, add that in. Okay, now what we're going to talk about with number 4, and this is the one where it's a little bit more obvious, but let's practice this as well. Even though the shin is hurt, a lot of times I still make my traders, my fight team, and especially my intermediates, not so much, but my advanced fighters for sure, they still have to use that shin. So they put the double shin guard on. Usually with pad work, I'll say, oh, maybe put 1 shin guard. Sparring, sometimes we put 2. And the only reason there's 2 is you might not kick with it, but it's just if it does happen, because a lot of time it's reaction, you don't think about it, boom, you bring the block up, and then you're hurt and jammed. So using the double shin guard, if it does happen, you're okay. On pad work, right, you'll always see, even at the highest level, if it's really banged up or it's cut or you can't do anything, putting the shin guard on isn't a bad idea. If you're an advanced fighter, you should be having enough strength in your shins and enough confidence knowing that a little bit of bruising and swelling on your shin isn't the worst thing, okay? Usually what I would say to my advanced fighters that would say we're doing pad work or bag work and they say, hey Joe, my shin's hurt. Guess what I'm gonna say? Kick harder on the shin. Because you're not really damaging yourself, but this is the part of the process that you need to be able to go through. Your shin's hurt, kick through it. Fight through it, understand, okay? You don't want to over damage it, but sometimes kicking through it, 1, it's the mental block, right? Sometimes if you haven't kicked on it for months or even weeks and then you go to kick on it, you become very hesitant, right? There's that mental block that it hurts, right? Sometimes you got to kick through it. You understand that? That swelling on the shin is just a little bit of fluid, and the time you break it down and kick through it, it's going to be completely fine. Now, the 5th and final tip, and this is my number 1 tip. This is what I would recommend to most people who hurt their shin when training. The most important and the most valuable, right? That answer is just use the part of the shin that's not hurt. Simple, right? But why does that not something that's ever used, right? Usually we shut down the whole leg itself for one part of the shin that's damaged. We have such a long, large surface area to attack with, right? When you kick someone, you don't use your full shin. You have to be able to place your shin where you want. So I will still do my bag work. I will still do pad work. I will still do everything with my shin. I will just place the part of my shin that's not hurt on the pad or the bag, right? If my lower part of my shin's hurt, I'm gonna hit the bag with my upper shin. If my upper shin's hurt, I'm gonna hit more with my lower shin. And even if my lower shin's hurt, I can still hit with my instep. Using the instep to strike is a very valuable tool. Hitting the instep upstairs. How many times have you hit a low kick and it hits the insteps? Not ideal, but those hurt. Every time you smack an instep on someone's leg kick on a low kick, say they go exit, boom, and you smack that instep, that hurts. That really does hurt. And if anything, yes, your shin's damaged, but you're strengthening the bones in your feet by hitting it on the bag. So you are getting a benefit and a value of it, okay? And you don't have to blast through things. Have some type of control, okay? You don't have to blast through it. So one thing that I would like to do too is I just use the boxing focus mitts for kicks, right? Having them control the kick. By having the little mitt here, you have to hit with the instep rather than a big part of the shin. Control and precision is a big part of martial arts, and that's just the time to work it, okay? So, in summary, do not stop training if you have a hurt shin. right? There's ways around getting better. And it's all, like I said before, it's with your level. I'm gonna be nicer if you're a beginner to take your time into rest, but if you're an advanced and you're fighting and you're in competition, taking time off with a bruised shin, banged up shin, even swollen shins after a fight. If you have fought bare shin fights, you will notice how bruised and swollen your shins get, right? There's been times my shins have permanent swelling and I could literally push my thumb and create inch of swelling into my shins. I would still train on it, moving my feet, working my boxing, hitting different parts of my shins, using my knees. Training does not stop because of a sore shin. Okay, so practice the different things. And like I said, number 5, okay, the 5th and final one of just using the different part of the shin is what you should work up to and should be your goal, all right? I could spar with a big bruised shin and not get hit because one, I'm just gonna use different tools, different styles, different footwork, and just not use the weapon. I have other weapons to use to try to win the fight. Okay? Don't be so concentrated on one and not being able to train because of one thing. And yes, I'm saying this with severity. If it's really bad and you can't walk and all the swelling pooled to your ankle and your toes and feet are all black and blue, okay, maybe you should take a couple days off, but still, not too long, it's swelling. Let's get back to training, okay? And if you ask me and a lot of most professional fighters, and I'll be honest with you, and I'm probably speaking for a lot of people, I might be speaking out of turn, but I can probably count the number on one hand the times I have iced my shin, or the times I've taken off of training because I've had a sore shin, okay? That's just not a thing. And the first things I'm gonna say, just ice them. It's not that. Okay? You have to do more to it than just ice your shins. And like I said, and you can ask most fighters, even after fights, when the swelling is terrible, we still won't ice our shins. It's just something that we don't do. Otherwise, we'd be icing everything every day, all day. So getting used to the pain, the swelling, and getting the nerves and the buildup, and before you know it, your shins will never bruise. And if they do, that's fine. You can kick through it, and that's the beautiful thing about martial arts. You're training your body, and this is what body armor is. This is why someone new to martial arts can't take low kicks. They can't kick the bag. We're creating a body armor that's going to help us sustain the damage that we do in fights. All right, and hope you enjoyed today's episode. Keep supporting the channel by going to HayabusaFight.com. Check out their Hayabusa gear, my personal favorite with the wrist and knuckle protection. Also, head over to Perfect Sports Nutrition. Use code Bazooka20 to get 20% off your supplements. BazookaShop.com for the Bazooka merchandise. And last but not least, BazookaTraining.com. That's BazookaTraining.com. For $9.99 a month, you get access to the Bazooka curriculum. Home workouts, bag workouts, tutorials, sparring drills for only $9.99 US a month. You get access to new weekly videos, right? You're getting over 4 videos a week on the channel teaching you all the details. When you see these YouTube videos, there's a lot of information, but it's just scratching the surface. At the end of the day, there's so much detail behind it, and that's what I want to show at BazookaTraining.com. All right, we'll see you next time here at Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA.
Over 1 year in lockdown. An empty gym, a divided community, many questions unanswered.
They're doing the best they can, trying to save their business.
But on one man's 36th birthday, he decided to fight back. Subscribe now for only $9.99 USD a month. BazookaTraining.com